Hey there, I'm legal analyst Emily D. Baker, and this is Quick Bits. On March 22nd, 2022, Johnny Depp's legal team filed a motion for sanctions over some digital evidence that Amber Heard had not, and it seems has not, turned over. This has still not been addressed in filings that are publicly available. It doesn't seem to have been addressed publicly in court. It might have been addressed on those Fridays when they were dealing with legal issues, but we have not seen a resolution to this motion for sanctions yet. And because I bring it up so much in my live streams covering the trial, I wanted to break out just this motion for sanctions for you. If you're following along with this trial, I am streaming every day that it's in court over at the Emily D. Baker on my long form content channel. So with that, this is clipped from a 3-hour live stream. So as I'm stumbling over my words just a little bit, it's because it was a long stream. So let us break down this motion for sanctions. Can't wait to hear your thoughts down below. Hey there, I'm attorney and legal analyst Emily D. Baker. These are the Quick Bits. Warning, curse words ahead. Let's get into it. Plaintiff Johnny Depp II. We're just going to go with Johnny Depp. We're going with professionally known as motion for sanctions for failure to comply with the November 8th, 2021 order. Depp, by and through his undersigned counsel, hereby moves the court to sanction Heard for her failure to comply with the November 8th order regarding forensic imaging. Counsel for plaintiff hereby certifies that they have in good faith conferred with opposing counsel in an effort to resolve the dispute. So let's see what this is over. Introduction. In recognition of the fact that the authenticity and integrity of the photographs that Heard relies on in this action is at issue, this court ordered Heard to produce her devices for a forensic imaging and analysis of the specified extracted data. So they want the source of the photos. The court order imposed common sense limitations to protect Heard's privacy and data, which Heard and her experts have exploited to the point that the contemplated analysis by Depp's forensic expert likely cannot be completed in advance of the upcoming jury trial of this action commencing on April 11th. Oh, I don't like that at all. Yeah, I don't like that at all. Since the court entered the order in November 2021, the imaging extraction and review process has been plagued by delays and technical snafus, which are at best negligent, at worst intentional stonewalling designed to thwart, we love thwart the very forensic analysis ordered by this court. The result, Mr. Depp has incurred extensive costs, both from his expert and the court-appointed limited discovery issue conciliator for nothing. Depp's forensic expert, Brian Neumeister, has not been able to review, let alone analyze, the authenticity and integrity of the photographs Heard relies upon to support her claims of abuse. In a case where there are he said, she said claims of domestic abuse, the prejudice to Depp in not being able to test the authenticity of this key evidence cannot be overstated. There must be consequences. I mean, you've had since November 2021. The court order imposed common sense limitations to protect Heard's privacy and data. Fine. They want to examine the photos, these photos, what if there's videos, those videos. There must be, we ended on there must be consequences. On November 8th, 2021, the court ordered a forensic imaging of Heard's devices so that Depp's forensic expert could analyze the integrity of the photographs Heard had taken during specific time periods during which she claimed abuse by Depp. That makes sense as part of discovery. And all of you that have been hanging around talking about the Duggar case, we've talked about imaging a little bit because you image the thing so you can do the forensic analysis of the thing. So you make a direct copy and then do the analysis from there. They can limit what they copy. She's also suing. So, you've got to substantiate your claims too, boo. Pursuant to the order, the forensic imaging, meaning the copying from Heard's device, the forensic imaging would be conducted by Heard's forensic experts under the supervision of the expert of Johnny Depp or his colleague. By November 30, 2021, we're not close to that at all. Because the hardware and software used to conduct the imaging and extraction of data is critical to ensuring the integrity of the data for purposes of the analysis, the order provided that should Heard's experts not have access to the appropriate hardware software, that the expert for Depp would make arrangement with Heard's experts to ensure the appropriate programs are used. It matters. It matters. To protect Heard's personal and potentially privileged data, emails with lawyers and things, the order provided that a neutral third-party attorney, Craig Young, would review the extracted data and isolate any irrelevant or privileged information from the data set to be analyzed by Depp's expert at Depp's expense. Well, that's indelibly reasonable. Also, all of this is going to take a lot of time. This is reasonable. This is time-consuming. Unfortunately, as of February 18th, 2022, the imaging of Heard's devices and cloud accounts still has not been completed. Oh, fuck. And Depp's expert had not received a single piece of extracted datum to analyze. In fact, the expert did not receive any extracted data until March 2nd, 2022. That's like a month before trial. And to date is still receiving data extracted from Heard's devices on a rolling basis. Even when data is finally available to send to the expert, there are inexcusable mishaps and delays, and on one occasion, an encrypted drive of photographs was sent to the expert without the password necessary to access the contents, so the drive needed to be resent. On another occasion, the expert received a file without the raw photographs, not in the agreed-upon format. Making matters worse, much of the data has been provided to the expert to date are either irrelevant or seem to be corrupted. Of the over 58,000 photographs the expert has now received, a substantial portion of these are not the types of photographs ordered to be analyzed, namely pictures of Heard. Many of the other photographs are essentially incapable of analysis. For example, there are multiple photographs that are visually the same and indicate that they are directly photographed image, but these original photos do not hash, with the hash being the digital fingerprint of the photograph. So are there no hash file? For other photographs, the EXIF data shows dates from the 1970s or the 1980s, which is literally impossible since EXIF data was not invented until more than 20 years later, and Miss Heard was not born until, we've redacted her date of birth? Okay. The EXIF errors were not the result of the photos being extracted from unallocated space, as they revert to epoch time in the EXIF data in most every case. Thus, these anomalies may be the result of the unlicensed and outdated software used by Heard's experts to image her devices. So the imaging is not being done properly, is what they're alleging. That when you image the drive, that it is not being made a duplicate exact image copy to the standards that it can be used for forensic analysis. He said he would pay for the software. Like he said he would pay for me now, I'm so annoyed. Okay. Ideally, Heard's experts would have used licensed up-to-date software, the Shade, to ensure a clean image and extraction. Do they want clean imaging extraction? Do they want clean image? Do they want it? Do they want it? But unfortunately, the forensic images were extracted before the team learned that Heard's experts were using unlicensed software. This is going to create a mess. In short, the process has been a mess. Keep reading, Emily. Keep reading. Keep reading, Emily. Keep reading. In short, the process has been a mess, and the data obtained therefrom is unusable for the purposes of analysis, or of the analysis, that the expert was hired to perform. Argument. This, again, is the motion for sanctions because of the fuckery. This is not a motion to make them comply properly. This is a motion for fuck you. You should be sanctioned But a motion for sanction is also making the court aware of this. The trial court has broad discretion to fashion an appropriate sanction, which can include financial sanctions. Here, Heard and her retained experts are in blatant and inexcusable contempt of this court's order directing the forensic imaging of the devices. Regardless of whether this contempt is the result of sheer incompetence or intentional conduct, sanctions are warranted. Although this court need not find that Heard's failure to obtain the order has caused Mr. Depp prejudice to award sanctions, Depp's prejudice is undeniable, and accordingly, sanctions are all the more necessary to right the wrong. Mr. Depp has, at great expense, retained a forensic expert, foot the bill for a neutral third-party attorney, which, as of the first invoice Mr. Depp has received from Mr. Young, totals $40,000 to review the extracted data and thereby protect Heard's personal privileged data, all in order to vet the evidence, which is the centerpiece of Heard's case. Photographs purporting to show injuries caused by Mr. Depp, and because of Ms. Heard's unconscionable disregard for this court's order, all of this may be for naught, as time has essentially run out for a competent imaging, extraction, and analysis to be conducted before trial. Mr. Depp accordingly requests the court to impose the following sanctions on Ms. Heard. Order Heard to reimburse Depp for the cost of A, his retainer of the expert, and B, the court-appointed limited discovery issue conciliator, the conciliary, we're going with that, Mr. Young, and 2, order that all photographs of purported injuries that Heard intends to rely on at trial, as reflected on her exhibit list filed March 14th, are inadmissible for any purpose. Yeet the photos. Yeet the photos. None of this says delay the trial, by the way. Alternatively, instruct the jury that they may infer that any photographs of purported injuries that Heard offers are admitted at trial have been manipulated or altered to show injuries that are not present. Because if they can extract it, they can show if like Facetune was used. They can show if the photos were in some way manipulated. Exhibit A. This is the court's order. Upon consideration of plaintiff and counterclaim defendant Depp's motion to compel defendant and counterclaim plaintiff Heard's production of original devices and operating system drives and cloud backups of the original devices as requested in plaintiff's 7th set of requests for production, and Heard's cross motion to compel Depp to produce forensic evidence for sanctions, the oppositions thereto, arguments for counsel, and being fully advised, it is this 8th day of November ordered that defendant's motion is denied. So Heard's motion is denied, except Mr. Depp shall produce any native files with metadata of photographs reflecting injuries and audio and video recordings of Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard that are in Depp's possession that have been previously produced in discovery without metadata. Plaintiff's motion is granted in part and denied in part. Defendant Heard shall produce her original devices, including mobile devices and computers, including laptops and iPads, as well as operating system drives and cloud backups of those original devices for purposes of performing a physical imaging of all data from the original devices as requested in plaintiff's 7th set of requests for production. For purposes of clarification, Heard's original devices shall include all devices on which the data was taken or originated or have been maintained. So literally everything. And then it goes through how it will be imaged. For computers, a right block raw DD non-segmented forensic image. For mobile devices, Heard shall provide the passwords for the devices she used during the relevant time period so data can be accessed, and the check M8 check extraction, I can't read the rest of that word, shall be performed where possible for each cell phone. For the cloud accounts, Ms. Heard shall provide the username and passwords. And they named the programs they wanted to use. So if they're not using those programs, I wonder what they're using, because this order names the programs to be used specifically. If Heard's designated forensic experts do not have access to the hardware or software required, Depp's expert will make arrangements with Heard's expert in an event that a dispute arises between the experts. The court-appointed conciliary shall resolve the dispute. And then they have the time periods to be searched, limited down, the dates of the photographs, how the extraction is going to happen. It's a really, really thorough, narrowly tailored order. And then the declaration of the expert saying all of what's up above, that the court-ordered deadline was November 30th. To date, some forensic imaging has occurred, but no photographs have been produced. The rest of the declaration about doing the forensics, and then all of the forensic experts, experty shit, and all of their experty stuff. The issue of the forensic imaging is a big deal. There's a long way to go and a short time to get there. And the thing is that these lawyers are going to be working overtime, but the rage over over the fuckery of the photos, the fact that the forensic examiner has gotten some shit, but not the actual shit that they asked for, not 58,000 photos, but not the photos that they've asked for. It's just unacceptable. Thank you for joining me on Quick Bits. Don't forget to join me for trial coverage of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case over at the Emily D. Baker, streaming the entire trial every single day until it is done. And with that, I want to hear your thoughts on this motion for sanctions down below. Did this give you a different opinion of what's going on in court? Can't wait to hear. Thank you for joining me for today's Quick Bits. For a full breakdown of this story and more, join me on my long form channel at The Emily D. Baker or on my podcast, The Emily Show, on all your favorite podcasting apps. And for more Quick Bits, you can find me on social media at The Emily D. Baker. I will see you for another Quick Bit soon.